Baker Art friends, it's Mrs. Herbay. Welcome to week 2 of our art classes together. This is going to be the remote lesson that all the students will do, whether you're hybrid A, B, or whether you're remote. And last week we talked about what art is, and you did a little Art Zine that talked about the 8 different reasons why artists may create art. This week, we're going to broaden the topic to think about, okay, so there are reasons why artists create art, and now we're going to look at some of the tools that artists use to create their art. So there are 7 of them, and we've talked about them in the past, but what I thought would be nice is for us to create a little booklet that we will refer to throughout the year. And as we continue to move forward, we're going to use this booklet in conjunction with the other art booklet about the 8 different reasons why artists create art. So if you, and I apologize because last week I accidentally forgot to upload the Art Zine video until a parent let me know that it wasn't there, and so I put it there. So if you didn't see how to fold the booklet last week, I'm going to make sure you can see how to make the booklet this week. So first things first, you need to print out this page and this page, okay? And we're going to put this page aside. And just like last week, what we're going to do is we are going to fold. I'm going to turn the piece of paper over to the white side. And first we're going to fold the piece of paper in half, hot dog style, where we match up the corners. I'm going to try to do it nice and carefully. Like that. And then if you remember, once it's lined up, we're going to hold it with our finger, and then we're going to swipe up, swipe down, and then I'm going to open it back up, and then this time I'm going to fold it in half, hamburger style. So I'm going to line up my corners. I'm going to hold my paper, and I'm going to swipe out and then up and then down. So now I have folded my piece of paper into quarters. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my piece of paper in half. So I'm going to bring these corners in here, and I'm going to line them up with the fold. And then same thing, just going to swipe. If it's easier for you to do it this way, you can also do it this way, where you can bring the bottom up to that fold line, hold it, and then swipe down and swipe to the right and swipe to the left. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reinforce my folds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully fold it just back the other way. And I showed you guys this trick in the spring, but if you take your scissors and you kind of smooth your scissor along there, that gives you kind of a nice crisp fold. And then I'm going to do it for this here. And it just helps you when you go to fold. Now I'm folding it back the other way. And then I'm going to fold this one back the other way too. All right. Now, if you remember from last week, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to bring this up a little bit closer. We are going to cut along this line here. And we're going to stop right there. So now we have a pair of pants, okay? And then we're going to open this back up, and I'm going to hold it this way because this is going to be the front cover of the book. And if you remember, we're going to sort of fold these together, and then if I push here, that's not coming out, but then what I want to do is I want to push this one out, and I want to push this one out. So I want to have it so that it looks like this. So the art elements is on the right hand side, texture is on the left hand side, and in the back it looks like this. And then as I slowly push this together, that's where, and since this is the cover, see as I push this here, then I can sort of, this is the last page, this is the first page, and then I'm able to fold it. And voila, there's my booklet. Now, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to unfold it to create the rest of the things that I need to do for this. And so what I'm going to do is, the next step is I want you to cut out these definitions. And what you can do is just take your scissors, and you don't want to leave a lot of space around the words, but first you can just kind of, I'm going to cut away the excess paper first. And then I'm just going to kind of cut up like that. And then, so now here's one. Two. And then you'll keep doing that until you get all of these. You should have 7 of these cut out. All right, art friends, now I have my 7 definitions cut out, and I have my booklet folded and ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the different definitions. This one says color is produced when light reflects off objects. So this is the color definition. So I can put this over here. Space is the area around, inside, or between objects. So that goes here. A line is a path created by a dot moving through space. So that is the line definition. Texture is the way something feels or looks like it could feel. So that goes here. A shape is a closed line. Some of these definitions might not make sense to you right now, but we're going to go over these in more depth in the coming weeks. So don't worry if some of the words don't make sense. It says value is the lightness or darkness of a color. And a form is a 3D shape. Okay, so I've got those all lined up. Now, when you glue these on, you can decide if you want to put it close to where the word is. Maybe you want to put it up at the top. Maybe you want to put it in the middle. It's totally up to you. I would probably either put it up closer to the top or down here because you want to leave some space, because we're going to draw some examples of what those things are. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue stick on my definitions. Smooth that on there. So take a few minutes once you have these all matched up, and then go ahead and glue your definitions on. And then you can alternate, some at the top, some at the bottom, and then we'll finish up the last step. All right, guys, I have all my definitions glued on. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the different elements, and we're going to talk about them briefly. So when I look at the line definition, it says a line is a path created by a dot moving through space. So what that means is if I put a dot on my piece of paper, right, and then that dot moves through space, it creates a line. And so that's a horizontal line. And what I want you to do is think about the lines that you have learned about in art class so far. And what you can do is you can kind of just draw them as you think of them. So that was horizontal. I drew some vertical. I remember there's a zigzaggy line. There's kind of a wavy line. There could be, you could change the wavy line to be more like this, right? The horizontal could be, it could be a dashed line. It could even be that. There's curves. There are swirls. There are diagonal lines. Sometimes lines are thicker. All right. So go ahead and you can fill this space with all different kinds of lines. Then as we move over here, it says a shape is a closed line. And what that means is that to create a shape, you use lines, but eventually the lines meet back up. So let's say I start at this point and I draw around. Well, guess what? By closing this line back up with there, now I've created a shape. If I just do this, have I made a shape? No, because I need to come all the way back up and around. Now I've made a shape. So I hope that makes sense. So in this space, you can brainstorm all of the different shapes that you know. And you can draw them here. Okay? And you can have fun with it. You can overlap. If you want to create designs with the shapes, you can. So you can overlap the shapes. You can make some small shapes. You can make bigger shapes. So just kind of have fun with that. As we move across, color. Color is produced when light reflects off objects. And I don't know if you guys know this, but really objects don't have color. It's really our eyes. There's the way our eyes react to the light reflecting off the object is what allows us to see color. And I want you in this here to think about what you know about color. And most all of us know the colors of the rainbow. We know, so I have here, let me try to find I've got my orange, my purple, my yellow, my green, my red, and then I just need my blue. There's my blue. I'm going to put these aside. So what you can do here is you can think about the color families. And so for the primary color families, we know that there's red and yellow and blue, right? And then to get the secondary colors, we think, well, what happens when red mixes with yellow? We get orange. What happens when red mixes with blue? We get purple. And what happens when blue mixes with yellow? We get green. So there's our colors of the rainbow. If you want, you can draw a rainbow on here. If you remember more color theory, like red and violet makes red violet, you could even experiment with that, where you can color red and then you can color some violet and you can kind of get your red violet. So you can also experiment with more colors here, but so this is going to be the color box. Value is the lightness or darkness of a color. So if I'm using my crayons and I color nice and lightly, that's a light value. But if I color and put a lot of pressure on the crayon, then I get a dark value. So you can experiment around. Try doing dark and light values with different materials. Here is a pencil. And I'm trying, that's sort of kind of a medium value. And then if I really try to press lightly, get a really, really light value. And then if I press really, really, really hard, I get a dark value. So play around with value here. Then as we turn this over, texture, we come to texture. Texture is the way that something feels or looks like it could feel. And so what we can do for that is you can go outside or you can find some things in your house that have texture. I happen to have this ball and it's kind of cool. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of lay my piece of paper on top of the ball and I'm going to kind of find a part of the ball and then I'm just going to take the edge of my pencil and you can see the texture coming through. So there, and even if I feel this now, it actually even feels bumpy. But outside, you can find like there's concrete, there are leaves, so the different things that can give you different textures. You can also, if you want to, let's say you find some things in your house that have texture. For example, I have this really cool like papery stuff. I could actually glue that down if I wanted to. So that's another option too, is if you had paper, you could cut out colored circles for the color too. So you can try to use different mediums. You don't necessarily just have to use pencil or crayons. And then I can kind of tape that there, and that looks kind of cool. Or glue that there, excuse me. Form. Form is a 3D shape. So for my younger friends, that's going to be a little bit trickier. But a form is actually, this is a form. It is a 3D shape. It's a circle. A circle that is now, it's called a sphere. And to draw this, I would have to use my value, which is kind of tricky. But I will show you guys, a cylinder is also a 3D shape, and that's kind of an easy one to draw because if you draw an oval here, and then you draw a line down here, and then a line down here, and then if you draw another oval at the bottom, there is a cylinder. So that's a 3D shape. Also, I can draw, and there's a cone. That's also a 3D shape. And then another trick is you can draw a square, and then I'm going to draw another square sort of a little bit above it, and then I'm going to connect the corners. And now my square has become a cube. So that's kind of a cool thing for you guys to practice if you would like to. And then space is the area around, inside, or between objects. So let's say I would have, let's say I'm just going to draw a simple flower here. So the area that the flower takes up is the positive space. So this is positive space. And the area around the flower is the negative space. All right, so once you finish that, then you can actually, if you want to, you can add decorations to the cover. And I hope you have fun with this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if this takes you more than one sitting, that is perfectly fine, because we're going to come back and revisit what we've started to explore here.